What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Today's a big day for me. I just got my first suppressor, so we're going to take a look at it. So let's jump into it. If you own a gun, you've probably looked at suppressors before. I'm the same way. I've looked a bunch and never bought. I think for me personally, one of the reasons that scares people away from suppressors is one, the tax stamp, and two, the wait time. I know those were hang-ups for me. It's kind of hard to stomach paying 200 bucks to the government for something you should just be able to go in and buy. But right now, that's kind of the way it is. Hopefully that'll change in the future, but I finally bit the bullet and got my first suppressor. The suppressor I got is made by Anechoic. This is a suppressor company in Utah. They make all the typical models. They make a 45 caliber regular length, 45 caliber long length, 35 regular, 35 long, 30 caliber long, and then they make it in the 223 variant, same configurations, a short one and a long one. And they also have a rimfire suppressor that you can buy as well. But I got the regular length 35 caliber. Now the reason I went with this one is one, I don't have a bunch of suppressors. This is my only one. So I wanted one that is very versatile and that can cover the majority of the calibers that I have. So let's unbox this thing real quick. I'll show you guys what this comes with, what it looks like. I'll break this thing down for you guys, go through all the specs on it, and show you how I'm gonna mount this thing. So this is a 35 caliber, regular length Anechox suppressor. It's a flow-through design, so it's got that flow-through cap on the end. It's 100% user serviceable, so you can take it all apart, take all the baffles out, clean it, whatever you need to do. Comes with the suppressor. It comes with a little tool right here to take off that end cap. That just goes right in there. This is a reverse thread, I believe, so you can take off that end cap. And then it comes with a couple wrenches. This wrench is for the back side to hold that suppressor body. To unscrew the cap right here on the muzzle side. And then it also comes with this wrench. I don't quite know what that's for. That doesn't seem to want to fit on anything. I have taken this apart, but I'm not sure what that's for, if that's for a different thread adapter or what. A few things about this suppressor. It is 100% titanium. They claim this is the lightest and quietest user serviceable suppressor on the market. Like I mentioned, this is a 35 caliber, so it can do 9mm, 357, all those pistol calibers, and then rifles up to 338 Lapua. It does have the flow-through design, so that helps with back pressure if you're using it on a gas gun, which I plan on doing quite a bit. They've got kind of some unique baffles inside of this. I'll show you that here in a minute. This suppressor comes with 1/2 to 28 direct thread adapter installed on it. And they also have a bunch of different direct thread adapters that you can purchase. So you can throw this on whatever threaded barrel that you have. This threaded adapter is threaded the industry standard 1 3/8 by 24. So there's a lot of quick connect hub mounts and things like that you can just pull this direct thread adapter off, throw your quick connect in there, and use it on a bunch of different rifles that are a bunch of different calibers. This is full auto rated on all the calibers that it's good for. One thing that I have learned in looking at these, they say it's full auto rated, but there are some caveats to that. Full auto rated for 100 rounds of 9mm, 50 rounds of 5.56, and so on and so forth, depending on the caliber. I guess that is the benchmark for being full auto rated. It comes in a bunch of different colors. You can get black, flat dark earth, olive drab. They do have a cool looking one that's unfinished, but I chose to go with the black because that kind of matches everything. But let's break this down. I'll show you the internals of this, show you kind of how it goes back together, and show you what mount I'm going to use for this. Like I mentioned, I have had this apart, so this stuff is broken loose. It is pretty tight to pull it all apart the first time. But here's what that baffle stack looks like. So these are what they're calling their X-baffle anechoic chamber. So these baffles are a little bit different than some. This regular length one, which is 6.6 inches long and 1.6 inches in diameter, It comes with 4 baffles. It has an interrupted central tube, and these are finished with a high temperature ceramic Cerakote film. The blast chamber down here, and then you've got the baffles ahead of that. Like I mentioned, this is easy to service. Pull it right apart, and you can clean all this stuff, clean out the body itself, or replace any baffles or anything like that if you, for some reason, had a baffle strike. So that's what the internals look like. That end cap for the muzzle, it is reverse thread. So that just threads back on, and they do sell different end caps as well. So if you wanted to get a 223 specific end cap for this instead of the 35 cal, you could throw that on there depending on what you're doing. But it is nice that they have all the tools that come with it, so you can pull it apart and service it if you need to. Now, I haven't shot this yet. I'm itching to get it out. I'll probably do that here in the next video that I do with whatever gun I'm shooting. I'll get this thing out and try it. I'm gonna throw it on my AR right here, show you guys what it looks like on this. This is a 16-inch AR chambered in 223 Wild. So that's what that looks like on there with the direct thread adapter on this 223 Wild. It obviously does add some length, but it is very light in that configuration. I don't really notice right here playing around with it the added weight on the end of that. It still feels pretty normal. But that's the direct thread adapter, and I don't really want to go that route because I'm going to be using this on a bunch of different guns. So what I decided to go with is the Silencerco ASR mounting system. Now I know I'll probably get some heat for that.
Dang it, Bobby, that's exactly what we don't want.
In searching for what mounting system I wanted, there seems to be a lot of heat around every mounting system, but I decided to go with the ASR. It's a very popular, muzzle devices are everywhere, and from what I've read, really the only times that people have problems with them is if they're installed incorrectly. As mentioned, this has the industry standard hub threading of 1 3/8 by 24. So any mount that has that thread pitch, you can throw on here. So that would be the Silencerco Bravo ASR mount. That's the one I chose. I'm not sure what these weigh, but it will add a little bit of weight to that suppressor. But that is the mount. And then these are the ASR muzzle devices. So they make these in a bunch of different calibers, as you guys know. They either have flash hiders or muzzle brakes or compensators. They have a few different options, but how this works is this has external threads, really coarse threads that this will screw down onto. And then I don't know if you can see this, it has some teeth right around the bottom there. And when you screw this down on there, you get it tightened down and then lock this closed, and it presses these little teeth into those little ridges that are on the muzzle device and locks that on. The locking device is just kind of a backup or a fail-safe if you don't get it tight enough. This back cap on this was on there tighter than tight. I'm guessing they used some rock set or something like that to lock it in there, but I finally got it free, and the way I did that is I took off the front cap, pulled the baffles out, and then on the inside of this direct thread adapter, there's a 9/16 nut on there. So you have to go in with a ratchet, kind of like this, unscrew that, and yeah, it was tight, but there you can see what that looks like. It's got a hex drive on there, so you can pull that thing out from the inside. I've heard sometimes you need to use some heat on there to break up that thread locker or rock set, whatever they use. But once you get that out, you can just go ahead, take your ASR mount, and that just threads right in there. I will put some thread locker on this once I get it locked down. This other little wrench did come in handy to lock on there and snug that down. Then I could throw this back on the baffles. And snug down that front cap. So that's what that looks like with the ASR Bravo mount on there. It does make it a bit heavier, but having a quick disconnect is a lot better in the long run versus trying to swap these caps out every time you want to change to a different gun. Now, if you only have a couple guns, that might be perfectly fine, because I do realize that this is quite an investment. Getting the hub adapter and all the muzzle devices that I'm gonna have to buy, that's quite an investment. And before I go out and buy a bunch of these, I want to make sure that this is what I want to run, that this isn't too heavy or cumbersome when I'm out shooting, because by the time you replace all the muzzle devices, that adds up quite a bit. This is a 30 cal muzzle device, threaded 5/8 24. So I'm going to throw this on my 6mm arc and show you guys how this attaches. I forgot to mention, in all my videos, I will have a link down in the description. It takes you to my website, where I'll have more information about all these products and stuff that I'm talking about today. Any special numbers and letters that can help keep more money in your wallet. Things like that, as well as the channel merchandise will be over there. If you want to go pick you up a hat or a t-shirt or a hoodie, go check that stuff out, help support the channel. So these muzzle devices do need to be timed. It comes with some shims and some rock set in the package, but this just threads on like any other muzzle device. I'm gonna thread it on here, see where the timing is at. That way I can decide what shims I need to use. As you can see, I'm 45 degrees out or whatever. So I'm gonna throw one of these shims on there, see how that does, and get it pretty close to where I think once I tighten it down, it'll be set where it needs to be set. And then I can throw some of this rock set on here and get it locked on there. That's one thing you do want to do with these quick disconnect hubs. You want to make sure it's locked on your barrel, because you don't want to go to take that suppressor off and unthread your muzzle device. I'm getting pretty close. I'm going to throw one more shim on here. If that looks good, I'll throw some rock set on here and tighten this thing on. So that's how that muzzle device looks on there. It's not a bad looking muzzle device. 3 big open ports, and from what I hear, a muzzle brake supposedly kind of acts like another baffle in your suppressor. So you just thread that suppressor on. YouTube doesn't like stuff like this, so I put that suppressor on, and then you just flip this locking ring to lock those teeth together. And that's how that looks on my 6mm arc. This is a Uinta Precision bolt action AR. If you haven't seen the video I did on this, make sure and check it out. I think that looks badass on there. I'm really excited to get this thing out and hopefully report back to you guys on how I like, 1, the suppressor, which I'm sure I'll love it, and 2, how I like the ASR setup for the quick detach hub, because I think I'm really going to like that, and I think that'll be really useful when I'm using this suppressor on multiple different guns. Like I mentioned, this is my first suppressor, so I may be way out in left field, and this may be 100% the wrong QD device for the suppressor, but let me know down in the comments what you guys use and what quick detach setup you guys have. So this is a setup that I've got, and you guys will be seeing a lot more of this in future videos because I plan on using it a bunch. So make sure you click that link in the description, go check this stuff out. Hopefully some info over there can save you guys some money on some stuff like this and pick you up a hat or a t-shirt, because nobody can have too many hats or t-shirts. But as always, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that thumbs up button, and we'll check you guys on the next one.